Here's something that will blow your mind. Studies show our brains make purchasing decisions a full 7 seconds before we're consciously aware of them. The psychology behind how we shop is way more complex than most people realize. Hi, I'm Colin Cooper, and welcome to the show. I'm here with my AI co-host, Jessica.
Hey Colin, always excited to dive into the psychology behind the way we live and shop. I was just reading about how companies are getting incredibly sophisticated at tapping into these subconscious processes.
Well, what's really interesting is there are 5 key psychological levers that businesses use to influence our decisions. And the first one, social proof, is something we encounter every single day. Would you believe that 88% of people trust online reviews just as much as recommendations from friends and family?
Oh wow. Though when I think about my own shopping habits, I definitely check reviews obsessively before buying anything these days.
And companies are getting really clever about how they present this social proof. They're not just showing star ratings anymore. They're using real-time purchase notifications, user content, even live customer experiences.
Speaking of clever strategies, I've noticed how some companies make the whole buying process feel completely effortless. Is that another one of these psychological levers?
That's exactly right. It's called reducing delivery friction. You know, when Amazon introduced their one-click purchase button, they saw a huge 27% increase in sales. Just think about that. Removing a few extra clicks was worth billions in additional revenue.
So, if we're talking about billions in revenue from just making things easier to buy, what other psychological factors are companies using?
Well, the third major lever is authority bias. And this one is fascinating because it's deeply rooted in human psychology. Studies show that 85% of consumers actively seek out expert opinions before making a purchase.
That explains why we see so many doctors in white coats advertising medical products, or tech companies always having engineers explain their latest innovations.
And what's really powerful is how these different levers work together. Like, when you combine authority bias with social proof, having an expert provide a product review, the effect is multiplied exponentially.
You know what I've noticed? I tend to trust companies I already know, even when they're selling something completely new.
That's the fourth lever, category heuristics. It's basically our brain's shortcut for decision-making based on familiarity. About 59% of consumers prefer buying from familiar brands, even when exploring totally new product categories.
That makes so much sense. It's like our brains are trying to minimize risk by sticking with what we know.
Right, and companies leverage this by extending their brand into new categories. Just look at how Amazon went from books to, well, literally everything. But you want to know the most powerful lever of all?
Oh, let me guess. It has something to do with everyone's favorite word. Free?
Exactly. Studies show that shoppers are twice as likely to choose a product with a free gift over one with an equivalent discount, even when the discount would actually save them more money.
That's wild. Though I have to admit, I've definitely chosen free shipping over a bigger discount before, even when the math didn't make sense.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Companies are now using big data and AI to test different combinations of these levers in real time, tracking exactly how each psychological factor affects conversion rates.
The technology behind all this must be incredibly sophisticated. How do they handle all that data?
Well, modern e-commerce platforms can process millions of data points per second using machine learning algorithms to identify patterns and predict consumer behavior. They're essentially creating a real-time map of human psychology.
That's both impressive and a little unsettling. Do you think consumers are becoming more aware of these psychological tactics?
You know, we're seeing a kind of arms race between consumer awareness and marketing sophistication. As people become more savvy about these techniques, companies have to be more subtle and authentic in how they apply them.
So, what does that mean for the future of marketing and consumer behavior?
Well, I think we're moving toward a model where these psychological principles are used more transparently and ethically. The most successful companies will be those that use these levers to genuinely enhance the customer experience, not just to drive sales.
That makes sense. After all, if these principles are based on fundamental aspects of human psychology, they should work even when people know about them, right?
Exactly. And with new technologies like virtual and augmented reality, we're seeing whole new dimensions of psychological influence emerge. Imagine trying on clothes virtually while getting real-time feedback from your social network, or having an AI assistant that understands your emotional state while shopping.
That sounds like science fiction, but I guess it's already happening to some extent.
And what's fascinating is how these new technologies are allowing companies to measure and respond to emotional responses in real time. They can literally see how different colors, layouts, or words affect our psychological state while shopping.
How do you think consumers can protect themselves while still benefiting from these innovations?
Well, I think the key is education and awareness. Understanding these psychological levers doesn't make them less effective, but it does help us make more conscious decisions about our purchases. The future of shopping isn't about manipulation. It's about creating better experiences while maintaining transparency and ethical standards.
This conversation has certainly made me more aware of how my own brain works when I'm shopping.
And that's exactly the kind of awareness that can help us all become more conscious consumers while still benefiting from the convenience and personalization that these psychological insights can provide.